Good evening, students. Today I am going to take fourth chapter, Consumption and Investment Functions. Consumption and Investment Functions. In the second chapter, we have studied about the meaning of national income, its measurement, its importance, and also its difficulties. In this chapter, we are going to study about the consumption and investment function, which will play an important role to influence the national income. The main objective of macroeconomics, that is nothing but its study about large. You know very well. The main objective of macroeconomics is to accelerate the growth of national income. You know already about the national income. It comprises of consumption goods, that is indicated by the letter C, and investment goods indicated by the letter I. There is a correlation between investment and national income. Now, next paragraph you refer. We are going to see what is multiplier. Multiplier, that is nothing but ratio of change in income to change in investment. Okay, ratio of change in income to change in investment, that is delta y by delta I. Delta y, it refers to change in income. Delta I, it refers to change in investment. The value of multiplier, it depends on consumption function. It depends on consumption function or MPC. What is MPC? That is nothing but marginal propensity to consume. What is the meaning of marginal propensity to consume? That is ratio of change in consumption to change in income. Ratio of change in consumption to change in income. I think you all know about consumption function. I have told already. What is consumption function? That is nothing but the relationship between consumption expenditure and income. There is a relation between consumption and income. Now, unspent portion of national income. Unspent, not spent. Portion of national income, that is called as saving. Once again I will repeat, what is saving? Unspent, not spent. Portion of national income, that is saving. One more meaning is that the amount of current disposable income which is not consumed, that is called a saving. Saving is disposable income minus consumption. Okay, so saving becomes investment and it will become capital. So there is a relation between consumption expenditure and capital expenditure. Consumption expenditure and capital expenditure, both are explained by the principle of accelerator. What is accelerator? That is nothing but relationship between change in capital stock and change in output. Underline that. The relationship between change in capital stock and change in output. That is very, very important. The concept is accelerator. One more meaning is also there for accelerator. Change in demand for consumer goods. Change in demand for consumer goods will bring about change in demand for capital goods in same direction, that is called accelerator. One more time I will repeat. Change in demand for consumer goods will bring about change in demand for capital goods in same direction, that is called accelerator. Okay, I think you all understood. I think now introduction we have finished. Now we are going to see what is consumption function, what is investment function, what is multiplier, and what is accelerator and super multiplier. These concepts we are going to see in this chapter. What are all the concepts? Consumption function, investment function, multiplier, accelerator, and also super multiplier. Now first one is consumption function. What is consumption? What is consumption? You know the meaning, using the goods, consuming. Consumption function are otherwise known as propensity to consume. Propensity to consume is also called as consumption function. That is consumption expenditure at various levels of income. One more meaning, consumption function, it refers to income and consumption relationship. Income and consumption relationship. That is consumption function, that is nothing but the relationship between C and Y. C and Y. C, it is a dependent variable and Y is independent variable. C ingiradhu it refers to consumption, Y it refers to income. C is dependent variable and Y is independent variable. C is determined by Y. C, that is nothing but consumption. Consumption is determined by Y. Now you refer table 1. Refer table 1. Sorry, that consumption function below that paragraph you refer. Then we'll go to table. The symbolically the relationship is represented as C is equal to f of Y. C it refers to consumption, Y it refers to income, and F it refers to function. Y it refers to function. So C is determined by Y. C is, that is nothing but consumption, Y refers to income. C dependent variable and Y independent variable. The formula is C is equal to f of Y, function of Y. Now you refer the table 1. What it is given? Sorry. Income, consumption, schedule. Income Y, consumption C, savings S. If income 0, consumption 20, savings minus 20, no savings. Income 60, consumption 70, so 60 minus 70 minus 10, so no savings. If income is 120, consumption is 120, savings 120 minus 120, 0. Then 180 minus 170, 10 savings. 240 minus 220, 20 ingiradhu savings. Okay, like that. Now you below that table you refer. If we take C is equal to 100 plus 0.8Y. MPC is marginal propensity to consume is 0.8. If Y is equal to 0, C is equal to 100 plus 0.8 into 0. Answer is 100. So C is 100. If Y is equal to 100, C is equal to 100 plus 0.8 into 100. Instead of Y you put 100. So So C is equal to 100 plus 80. C consumption is 180. If Y is equal to 200, if Y is equal to 200, if income is 200, C is equal to 100 plus 0.8 into 200. Answer is 260. C is 260. If Y is equal to 300, C is equal to 100 plus 0.8 into 300. The answer is 340. C is equal to 340. Mathematical terms la C is equal to A plus BY. C is equal to A plus BY. Okay. C is consumption, A constant or intercept 20. I think you all understood, I think. Okay. Shall we go to the next one? Now, this table shows consumption expenditure increases with increase in income. If income increases, consumption expenditure will also increase. Understood? When income is 0, people spend out of their past savings. Okay, because they must eat in order to live. That is called autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption. Consumption which is not related to income. Consumption which is not related to income. That is called autonomous consumption. If income is 0, even if income is 0, consumption will takes place. That is called consumption, autonomous consumption. Okay, now you refer the diagram. What it is given in the x-axis. X-axis it refers to income. Y-axis it refers to consumption. X-axis it refers to income. Y-axis it refers to consumption. Okay, when Y is equal to 120, you refer the diagram. When Y is equal to 120, if income is 120, consumption 120. Okay, savings is 0. When Y is equal to 180, income is 180, consumption 170. So, yes, savings 180 minus 170 is equal to 10. If Y increases to 360, if income increases to 360, C is equal to 320. So, 360 minus 320, 40 is yes, that is savings. In 45-degree line at all levels, Y is equal to C or equal, income and consumption. So, 45-degree line, it is regarded as zero saving line. Underline that. 45-degree line is regarded as zero saving line. That C curve, it is given in the diagram. C curve, that is nothing but division of income between consumption and investment. We are dividing that income into between consumption and saving. C curve, it denotes the division of income between consumption and saving. Now, you refer 4.2.2. Technical attributes of consumption function. Technical attributes of consumption function. What are the technical attributes? One is APC, next one is MPC, and the next one is APS, and fourth one is MPS. APC, average propensity to consume. The formula is C by Y. C, it refers to consumption, Y it refers to income. MPC, delta C by delta Y, change in consumption, change in income. Delta C ingiradhu, it refers to change in consumption, delta Y it refers to change in income. APC, APS, average propensity to save. S by Y. S is, it refers to saving, Y it refers to income. MPS, marginal propensity to save, delta S by delta Y. Delta S it refers to change in saving, delta Y it refers to change in income. Now we are going to see the first one, APC. What is APC? Average propensity to consume. That is nothing but ratio of consumption expenditure to any particular level of income, or we can say ratio of consumption expenditure to income. Ratio of consumption expenditure to income. The formula is APC is equal to C by Y. C it refers to consumption and Y it refers to income. Next one is marginal propensity to consume. Marginal means additional. Okay, that is nothing but ratio of change in consumption to change in income. Change, it's very important. Ratio of change in consumption to change in income, that is called marginal propensity to consume. One more meaning, ratio of change in consumption to change in income. The formula is delta C by delta Y. Delta C it refers to change in consumption, delta Y it refers to change in income, and MPC is positive 1 but less than unity. Okay, less than 1. Next one is APS, average propensity to save. That is nothing but ratio of saving to income. Ratio of saving to income. The formula is S by Y. S it refers to saving and Y it refers to income. Next, fourth one is MPS, marginal propensity to save. That is nothing but ratio of change in saving to change in income. Change is very important. Ratio of change in saving to change in income. The formula is delta S by delta Y. Delta S it refers to change in saving and delta Y it refers to change in income. One more formula, MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. MPC, marginal propensity to consume, plus marginal propensity to save is equal to 1. We can write like this also. MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC and MPC is equal to 1 minus MPS. One more time I will repeat. MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. MPS we can write like this, 1 minus MPC, and MPC is equal to 1 minus MPS. This concept was introduced by Keynes. Okay. So APC is expressed in percentage while MPC is expressed in fraction. I think you all understood. Now the next one, table 2 calculation you refer. Table 2 calculation of APC, MPC and APS and MPS. Y it refers to income, consumption C indicated by C, APC percentage C by Y, APS S by Y, MPC delta C by delta Y, MPS delta S by delta Y. So now first column, if income is 120, consumption 120. Okay. So APC C by Y, 120 by 120 into 100 is equal to 100. Okay. Next one is APS, S by Y, S 0. How it is now? 120 minus 120. Income minus consumption. Income 120, consumption 120. So 120 minus 120, 0 savings by income 120. 0 by anything 0. Next MPC nil and MPS nil. Now next column, if income is 180, consumption 170, so saving is 10. 180 minus 170. So now APC C by Y. 170 by 180 percentage, so 100. 170 by 180 into 100. The answer is 94. Like that APS S by Y. Saving is 10 divided by Y. 180 into 100. Okay. Then MPC delta C by delta Y 50. That is consumption side delta C 170 minus 120 50. Next delta Y ingiradhu 180 minus 120 60. So the answer is 0.83 and MPS delta S by delta Y 0.17. I think you all understood this one. Okay. Now the next one is, next you refer Keynes' psychological law of consumption. The law of consumption, it is the basis of consumption function. Consumption, that is nothing but using the good. Okay. If income increases, consumption will also increase, but not by as much as the increase in their income. Or people spend on consumption less than the full increment of income. I think you all understood. One more time I will repeat. Keynes' psychological law of consumption. This is the basis of consumption function. If income increases, consumption will also increases, but not by as much as the increase in their income. Or they will spend on consumption less than the full increment of their income. Okay. Now the assumptions. It is based on the following assumptions. One is ceteris paribus, that is constant. It is a Latin phrase for other things being equal. Other things being equal. Okay. Other variables such as income distribution, taste, habits, social customs, price movement and population growth, etc. do not change. Do not change. And consumption depends on income alone. Consumption depends on income only. That is the ceteris paribus. Next one is existence of normal conditions. Existence of normal conditions. This law holds goods under normal situation, but economy faced many abnormal and extraordinary circumstances like war, revolution or hyperinflation, hyper level, that is steady increase in price level, hyper level, high level. But this law will not operate. This law will not operate. Okay. People, they will spend their increase in this whole of increase in income on consumption. Next one is existence of laissez-faire capitalist economy. Laissez-faire, that is minimum intervention by the government. No government intervention. This law operates in a capitalist economy, rich capitalist economy, where because there is no government intervention. No government intervention. People should be free to spend their increased income. Okay. This is Keynes' psychological law of consumption. I think you all understood. Now the next one is, you refer propositions of law. Propositions of law. First one, when income increases, consumption expenditure. If income increases, consumption expenditure also increases, but by a lesser amount. Because as income increases, our wants are satisfied. Our basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, etc. Okay. If our income increases, our wants, our needs are satisfied. So the need to spend more on consumer goods decrease. Okay. Now the second one is, the increased income will be divided in some proportion between consumption expenditure and also saving. The full of increased income is not spent on consumption. Fully we are going to spend on consumption. Okay. There savings will also takes place. Whole full of income, increased income we are not going to spend only for consumption. Okay, the remaining is saved. Next one is third one. Increase in income always it lead to an increase in both consumption and savings. Increased income lead to fall either consumption or savings. So both we are allotting that for both consumption and also saving. Okay, lead to increase in both consumption and saving. These are all the three propositions of the law. You refer the table 3. Three propositions of the law. Income, Y letter, consumption indicated by C, savings is equal to Y minus C, income minus C. If income is 120, consumption 120, saving is 120 minus 120, 0. Next, if income is 180, consumption 170, saving is 180 minus 170 is equal to 10. If income is 240, the consumption is 220, saving is 240 minus 220 is equal to 220. Okay, three propositions of the law. First proposition 1, we are going to see. Income increases by 60 crores. Okay, and the increase in consumption is by 50 crores. If income increases by 60 crores now, we are allotting that amount for consumption is 50 crores. Remaining 10 crores for savings. Next one is proposition 2. The increase of income 60 piece, that is divided into, that is proportion between consumption and saving. That is 50 crores for consumption, 10 crores for savings. Next, proportion 3, as income increases, consumption as well as saving will also increase. Both consumption and saving will increase when, if income increases. I think you all understood. Next, proposition 3, I think you all understood. Diagram explanation. Diagrammatically, 3 propositions explained in diagram 4.2. 4.2. 3 propositions. That is, income is measured horizontally. Horizontally na x-axis it refers to income. Consumption and saving are measured on vertical axis. So y-axis it refers to consumption and saving. C is the consumption function curve. C letter. And 45-degree line. 45-degree line, it represents income consumption equality. Both income and consumption, Y and C, are equal. It refers to equal. I think you all understood. X-axis it refers to income, Y-axis it refers to consumption and saving. C curve it refers to consumption function curve, and 45-degree line it represents both income and consumption are equal. Proposition 1, below that diagram you refer. When income increases from 120 to 180, you refer the diagram. If income increases from 120 to 180, consumption will also increase from 120 to 170 on the y-axis. 10 saving is 10. I think you all understood. Proposition 1. Now the proposition 2, when income increases to 180 to 240, 180 to 240 on the x-axis, it is divided into some proportion between consumption by 170 and 220 and saving by 10 and 20. I think you all understood. Consumption by 170 and 220 and saving by 10 and 20. Next, proposition 3. Increases income to 180 and 240. It lead to increased consumption 170 and 220. Then savings will also increase 20 and then before. So C curve we have studied in that diagram, and saving gap between 45-degree line and C curve. I think you all understood, I think. Okay, till this understood. Now today's homework, part D, explain Keynes psychological law of consumption with a diagram. That is your homework. Thank you.